好无处不在时，只能让你朝思夜想，却不能让你感知到的那一位。生命言语赐给我们经历深深盼的接近，经历熬炼的爱更坚强，享受神的爱心甘甜呢。
And provision, no one can change their instinct.
We have been brought before God, His words we eat and drink, Holy Spirit enlightens, we understand.
太阳从东方升上来哟，神啊，你的荣耀冲呀充满天地间内，美丽的佳偶，你的爱环绕我心间哟，追求真理的人啊，都在爱呀爱神内。清晨起来随人啊，莫想神话又享受温柔的话语像慈母哟，审判的话语像严抚慰。世上一切我不爱耶，我心只爱全能神哟。啊嘿，啊嘿，啊嘿，啊嘿，世上一切我不爱耶，我心只爱全能神哟。神心意显你，成全真爱神的人呐，活泼天真的人哟，都来为神献上赞美。欢快的舞儿美哟，围绕宝座起跳跃哟，天南海北的人呐，都被神的声音唤回来。生命言语赐给我们，经历神审判的洁净经历熬炼的爱更坚强，享受神的爱心甘甜全能神太可爱耶，我心只爱全能神哟。啊嘿，啊嘿，啊嘿，啊嘿，全能神啊，太可爱耶，我心只爱全能神哟。啊嘿，啊，到有一天，你会觉得早无助，不 再是一个谜，造物主从未向你隐藏，造物主从未向你湮灭，造物主离你并不遥远。造物主不再是只能让你朝思夜想，却不能让你感知到的那一位。他真真切切地守护在你左右，他供应着你的生命，掌管着你的命运，掌管着你的命运。他不在遥远的天界，他不在眼前隐秘，他就在你的身边，住在这你的一切。他是你的所有，也是你的唯叮咚叮咚叮咚叮铃叮铃叮咚叮咚叮咚叮铃叮铃。
这样的一位神，让你心生爱慕，让你依恋，让你亲近，让你仰慕。让你害怕失去，让你不愿再放弃，再被你
不愿在远离躲避，你只想体贴他，你只愿顺服他，你只愿环抱他给你的一切，你只愿归附在他的权下。你不再拒绝他对你的
伴他左右，只愿跟随，陪伴他左右。你只愿接受他做你唯一的主，做你唯一的主，唯一的神。
生命的 人快来，我也与你交交心。
谁不喜欢诚实的，是吧？
爱是的人都来相会，交个好朋友。
哈利路亚，赞美神，赞美神。
把生命全部作为，都献给末世的人。把神的全部容颜都献给等待神多少年的人。普天同庆，万民共乐，神的帐幕降临在人间，全宇沸腾，万国敬拜，神旨意在地上得以同行。
God Himself, the unique, 1. God's authority, 1. On the sixth day, the Creator speaks, and each kind of living creature in His mind makes its appearance, one after another. Imperceptibly, the Creator's work of making all things had continued for 5 days, immediately following which the Creator welcomed the sixth day of His creation of all things. This day was another new beginning, and another extraordinary day. What, then, was the Creator's plan on the eve of this new day? What new creatures would He produce? Would He create? Listen, that is the voice of the Creator. And God said, Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind. And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creeps on the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. Genesis 1:24 through 25. What living creatures does this include? The scriptures say cattle, and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind, which is to say that on this day there were not only all sorts of living creatures upon the earth, but they were all classified according to kind, and likewise God saw that it was good. As during the previous 5 days, with the same tone, on the sixth day the Creator ordered the birth of the living creatures that He desired, and that they appeared upon the earth, each according to their kind. When the Creator exerts His authority, none of His words are spoken in vain, and so, on the sixth day, each living creature that He had intended to create appeared at the appointed time. As the Creator said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind," the earth was at once filled with life, and upon the land there suddenly emerged the breadth of all sorts of living creatures. In the grassy green wilderness, stout cows, swishing their tails to and fro, appeared one after the other. Bleating sheep gathered themselves into herds, and neighing horses began to gallop. In an instant, the vast expanses of silent grassland exploded with life. The appearance of these various livestock was a beautiful sight upon the tranquil grassland, and brought with it boundless vitality. They would be the companions of the grasslands, and the masters of the grasslands. each mutually dependent on the other. So too would they become the guardians and keepers of these lands, which would be their permanent habitat, and which would provide them with all they needed, a source of eternal nourishment for their existence. On the same day that these various livestock came into being, by the Creator's word, a plethora of insects also appeared, one after the other. Even though they were the smallest of the living things among all creatures, their life force was still the miraculous creation of the Creator, and they did not arrive too late. Some fluttered their little wings, while others slowly crawled. Some hopped and bounced, others staggered, some barreled forward, while others quickly retreated. Some moved sideways, others hopped high and low. All were busy trying to find homes for themselves. Some pushed their way into the grass, some set about burrowing holes in the ground, some flew up into the trees, hidden in the forests. Though small in size, they were unwilling to endure the torment of an empty stomach, and after finding their own homes, they rushed to seek food to feed themselves. Some climbed upon the grass to eat its tender blades. Some grabbed mouthfuls of dirt and fed it to their stomachs, eating with much gusto and pleasure. For them, even dirt is a tasty treat. Some were hidden in the forests, but they did not stop to rest, as the sap within the glossy dark green leaves provided a succulent meal. After they were satiated, still the insects did not cease their activity. Though small in stature, they were possessed of tremendous energy and limitless exuberance. And so, of all creatures, they are the most active and the most industrious. They were never lazy and never indulged in rest. Once satiated, still they toiled about their labors for the sake of their future, busying themselves and rushing about for their tomorrows, for their survival. They softly hummed ballads of various melodies and rhythms to encourage and urge themselves on. They also added joy to the grass, trees, and every inch of soil, making each day and each year unique. With their own languages and with their own ways, they passed on information to all the living things upon the land. And using their own special life course, they marked all things upon which they left traces. They were on intimate terms with the soil, the grass, and the forests. And they brought vigor and vitality to the soil, the grass, and the forests, and brought the exhortations and greetings of the Creator to all living things. The Creator's gaze swept across all things that He had created, and at this moment His eyes paused upon the forests and mountains, His mind turning. As His words were uttered forth, in the dense forests and upon the mountains, there appeared a type of creatures unlike any that had come before. They were the wild animals spoken by the mouth of God. Long overdue, they shook their heads and swished their tails, each with their own unique face. Some had furry coats, some were armored, some bared fangs, some wore grins, some were long-necked, some short-tailed, some wild-eyed, some with a timid gaze, some bent over to eat grass, some with blood about their mouths, some bouncing along on 2 legs, some pacing about on 4 hooves, some looking into the distance atop trees, some lying in wait in the forests, some searching for caves to rest, some running and frolicking upon the plains, some prowling through the forests, some were roaring, some howling, some barking, some crying, some were soprano, some were baritone, some were full-throated, some were clear and melodious, some were grim, some were pretty, some were disgusting, some were adorable, some were frightening, some were charmingly naive. One by one, they each came forth. See how they puffed about, free-spirited, idly indifferent to each other, not bothering to spare a glance for one another. Each bearing the particular life bestowed upon them by the Creator, and their own wildness and brutishness, they appeared in the forests and upon the mountains. Contemptuous of all, so completely imperious, who made them the true masters of the mountains and forests? From the moment that their appearance was ordained by the Creator, they laid claim to the forests and laid claim to the mountains. For the Creator had already sealed their boundaries and determined the scope of their existence. Only they were true lords of the mountains and forests, and that's why they were so wild and so contemptuous. They were called wild animals purely because, of all creatures, they were the ones which were truly wild, brutish, and untamable. They could not be tamed, so they could not be reared, and could not live in harmony with mankind or labor on behalf of mankind. It was because they could not be reared, could not work for mankind, that they had to live at a distance from mankind, and could not be approached by man. And it was because that they lived at a distance from mankind, and could not be approached by man, that they were able to fulfill the responsibility bestowed upon them by the Creator, guarding the mountains and the forests. Their wildness protected the mountains and guarded the forests, and was the best protection and assurance of their existence and propagation. At the same time, their wildness maintained and ensured the balance among all things. Their arrival brought support and anchorage to the mountains and forests. Their arrival injected boundless vigor and vitality to the still and empty mountains and forests. From this point onward, the mountains and forests became their permanent habitat, and they would never lose their home, for the mountains and forests appeared and existed for them, and the wild animals would fulfill their duty and do everything they could to guard them. So too would the wild animals strictly abide by the exhortations of the Creator to hold on to their territory, and continue to use their beastly nature to maintain the balance of all things established by the Creator, and show forth the authority and power of the Creator. Under the authority of the Creator, all things are perfect. All things created by God, including those which could move and those which could not, such as birds and fish, such as trees and flowers, and including the livestock, insects, and wild animals made on the sixth day, they were all good with God. And, furthermore, in the eyes of God, these things, in accordance with His plan, had all attained the acme of perfection, and had reached the standards that God wished to achieve. Step by step, the Creator did the work He intended to do according to His plan. One after the other, the things He intended to create appeared, and the appearance of each was a reflection of the Creator's authority and a crystallization of His authority. And because of these crystallizations, all creatures could not help but be thankful for the grace of the Creator and the provision of the Creator. As the miraculous deeds of God manifested themselves, this world swelled, piece by piece, with all of the things created by God, and it changed from chaos and darkness into clarity and brightness, from deathly stillness to liveliness and limitless vitality. Among all things of creation, from the great to the small, from the small to the microscopic, there was none which was not created by the authority and power of the Creator, and there was a unique and inherent necessity and value to the existence of each creature. Regardless of the differences in their shape and structure, they had but to be made by the Creator to exist under the authority of the Creator. Sometimes people will see an insect, one which is very ugly, and they will say, "That insect is so horrible. There's no way such an ugly thing could have been made by God. There's no way He would create something so ugly." What a foolish view! What they should say is, though this insect is so ugly, it was made by God, and so it must have its own unique purpose. In the thoughts of God, He intended to give each and every appearance and all sorts of functions and uses to the various living things He created. And so none of the things God made were cut from the same mold. From their exterior to their internal composition, from their living habits to the location that they occupy, each is different. Cows have the appearance of cows, donkeys have the appearance of donkeys, deer have the appearance of deer, and elephants have the appearance of elephants. Can you say which is the best looking and which is the ugliest? Can you say which is the most useful and the existence of which is the least necessary? Some people like the way elephants look, but no one uses elephants to plant fields. Some people like the way lions and tigers look, for their appearance is the most impressive amongst all things. But can you keep them as pets? In short, when it comes to all things, man should defer to the authority of the Creator, which is to say, defer to the order appointed by the Creator to all things. This is the wisest attitude. Only an attitude of searching for and obedience to the original intentions of the Creator is the true acceptance and certainty of the authority of the Creator. It is good with God, so what reason does man have to find fault? Thus, all things under the authority of the Creator shall play a new symphony for the sovereignty of the Creator, shall commence a brilliant prelude for His work of the new day, and at this moment the Creator shall also open a new page in the work of His management. According to the law of the shoots of spring, ripening of summer, autumn's harvest, and winter's storage appointed by the Creator, all things shall echo with the Creator's plan of management, and they shall welcome their own new day, new beginning, and new life course. And they shall soon reproduce in endless succession in order to welcome each day under the sovereignty of the Creator's authority. None of the created and non-created beings can replace the identity of the Creator. From when He commenced the creation of all things, the power of God began to be expressed and began to be revealed, for God used words to create all things. Regardless of in what manner He created them, regardless of why He created them, All things came into being and stood fast and existed because of the words of God. And this is the unique authority of the Creator. In the time before mankind appeared in the world, the Creator used His power and authority to create all things for mankind and employed His unique methods to prepare a suitable living environment for mankind. All that He did was in preparation for mankind, who would soon receive His breath. Which is to say, in the time before mankind was created, the authority of God was shown forth in all creatures different from mankind, in things as great as the heavens, the lights, the seas, and the land, and in those as small as animals and birds, as well as in all sorts of insects and microorganisms, including various bacteria invisible to the naked eye. Each was given life by the words of the Creator, and each proliferated because of the words of the Creator, and each lived under the sovereignty of the Creator because of the words of the Creator. Although they did not receive the breath of the Creator, they still showed forth the life and vitality bestowed upon them by the Creator through their different forms and structures. Although they did not receive the ability to speak given to mankind by the Creator, they each received a way of expressing their life that was bestowed upon them by the Creator, and which differed from the language of man. The authority of the Creator not only gives the vitality of life to seemingly static material objects, so that they will never disappear, but, moreover, gives the instinct to reproduce and multiply to every living being, so that they will never vanish, and so that, generation after generation, they will pass on the laws and principles of survival endowed to them by the Creator. The manner in which the Creator exerts His authority does not rigidly adhere to a macro or micro viewpoint and is not limited to any form. He is able to command the operations of the universe and hold sovereignty over the life and death of all things, and, moreover, is able to maneuver all things so that they serve Him. He can manage all the workings of the mountains, rivers, and lakes, and rule all things within them, and, what's more, is able to provide that which is needed by all things. This is the manifestation of the unique authority of the Creator amongst all things besides mankind. Such a manifestation is not just for a lifetime, and shall never cease or rest, and cannot be altered or damaged by any person or thing, nor can it be added to or reduced by any person or thing. For none can replace the identity of the Creator, and, therefore, the authority of the Creator cannot be replaced by any created being, and is unattainable by any non-created being. Take God's messengers and angels, for example. They do not possess the power of God, much less do they possess the authority of the Creator, and the reason why they do not have the power and authority of God is because they are not possessed of the substance of the Creator. The non-created beings, such as God's messengers and angels, although they can do some things on behalf of God, they cannot represent God. Although they possess some power not possessed by man, they do not possess the authority of God. They do not possess the authority of God to create all things and command all things and hold sovereignty over all things. And so the uniqueness of God cannot be replaced by any non-created being, and similarly, the authority and power of God cannot be replaced by any non-created being. In the Bible, have you read of any messenger of God that created all things? And why did God not dispatch any of His messengers or angels to create all things? Because they did not possess the authority of God, and so they did not possess the ability to exert the authority of God. Just like all creatures, they are all under the sovereignty of the Creator and under the authority of the Creator. And so, in the same way, the Creator is also their God and is also their sovereign. Among each and every one of them, whether they be noble or lowly, of great or minor power, there is not one which can surpass the authority of the Creator. And so among them, there is not one which can replace the identity of the Creator. They shall never be called God, and shall never be able to become the Creator. These are immutable truths and facts. Through the fellowship above can we assert the following: only the Creator and ruler of all things, He who is possessed of the unique authority and the unique power, can be called the unique God Himself. At this point, you may feel that such a question is too profound. You are, for the moment, incapable of understanding it, and cannot perceive the essence within, and so at the moment you feel that it is difficult to answer. In that case, I shall continue with my fellowship. Next, I will allow you to behold the actual deeds of many aspects of the authority and power owned by God alone. And thus, I will allow you to truly understand, appreciate, and know the uniqueness of God, and what is meant by the unique authority of God.
Thousands of years pass by, humans still enjoy the light and the air bestowed by God. Humans still breathe in and out the breath exhaled by God Himself. Humans still enjoy things created by God, the fish, birds, flowers, and insects. Humans enjoy all the things provided by God. Continually, day and night, still replace each other. As usual, the four seasons alternate. Flying in the sky, the geese depart in winter and return in spring. Swimming in the water, the fish never leave the rivers and the lakes their home. During the summer days, cicadas on the ground joyfully sing their hearts out. During the autumn days, crickets in the grass gently hum in time to the wind. Geese gather in flocks while eagles stay alone. Lions hunt to live while elk can never stray from the grass and flowers. Every living creature in all things comes and goes again and again. A million changes in a moment. But what does not change are their instincts and the laws of survival. They live under God's nourishing and provision. No one can change their instincts. No one can break their rules of survival. No one can break their rules of survival.